Hello everyone, here we are, back with the second reconstructed crime scene. Alright, so I'm not really expecting anything in particular to be around here. Let's figure out how the corpse was attached first.
Chikara's right side. The cross-section is stuck right onto the blackboard.
What's the estimated time of death?
Based on the time the body was discovered, that would make it about 4 hours ago.
So, around 8 p.m. on February 11th.
When was he released?
Right around the time we were meeting with Tokiko.
Okay, interesting. How is it attached to the blackboard?
I'm sorry, Ryuki. This might freak you out, but there's something I have to tell you. Will you hear me out?
What?
The thing is, this corpse is so cowardly that it has no guts!
What?
I know. That was so bad. The joke was over before I even said it. But I just had to do it.
No, you didn't. You didn't have to do any of that.
I mean, look. The corpse is completely missing
Which
its
is no
guts.
different from Jin's.
I couldn't let this chance pass me by.
The reason the
Looks
corpse
like
is
there
on the
aren't any other clues
blackboard
here.
is because it doesn't have internal organs anymore. The open space inside the body has a lower pressure than the outside. It's similar to how suction cups work. Ah, thank you. Okay. That's all we've got for clues?
Well, satisfied?
No. Not even remotely. What about the security
I checked
cameras?
the footage, but I didn't see anyone suspicious. Of course, that place is huge. So
Yeah, what's his
plenty
name
of
was able to
areas
get
the
through there
security
pretty
cameras
easily
don't
by
cover.
dodging the cameras, so I'm not that surprised.
Any cameras on campus?
None. Do you remember what Gen said?
Gen, that's it.
Security at Sekiba High is completely lacking.
Yeah, I remember that conversation. Ah.
I think he was lying about the money. Terror probably wanted someone to find Chikara's body.
You mean he wanted Chimpei to find it?
Not necessarily. It might have been for the police. Terror might have predicted that someone from the police would contact Chimpei.
Alright, this makes more sense than you would think, because from our perspective right now, we're seeing it from the perspective of Ryuki, who kind of put things together a little bit slower than probably would have happened in real life. You see, in probably what I would assume to be standard procedure, because Chimpei was in charge of production, the assumption would have been that he would have known something about the corpse setup, and they probably would have brought him in much earlier under a normal investigation. Therefore, if he had been brought in a more standard time frame, then it would have been very logical for the police to have either acquired permission from him to crack his phone, or to just crack it without his permission, depending. I don't know how specifically Japanese law works in terms of breaking into a suspect's phone. I don't know how that works. Or they could get a warrant for it or whatever. But the assumption under a normal investigative time frame would have been that we would have already had that information probably several hours beforehand, at least. So that makes more sense in terms of standard procedure.
That's my assumption. I can't think of any other suspects.
Just who is this terror?
I wouldn't be having so much trouble if I knew that.
It can't be Tokiko, can it? Tokiko was with me at Chikara's time of death, and she was in Okinawa during the incident with Jin.
I'm pretty confident it's not Tokiko, nor is she behind it. I think it's the splinter group from Night Laws that's responsible, and I think they made the other video as well.
Yeah, at the very least, it seems unlikely that she did it personally.
I don't think she did.
Something has been bothering me. I feel like Tokiko is involved somehow. Chikara was a member of NICE, and he knew about Bats 490. That's not all. The appearance of Jin's corpse was made to seem like a paranormal phenomenon.
Which is why I think it's the order of percent, not Night Laws. Look, Night Laws, I believe it's Night Laws, they wouldn't be setting this up and then claiming it's paranormal, and they wouldn't likely be trying to fray to free as a message if that would give them bad publicity. But the splinter group order of percent might be willing to do all of this in an attempt to damage Night Law's message for some reason. Also, since I personally suspect that Jin was also a member of Nai's Laws, and we know Chikara was a member of Nai's Laws, or a former member at the very least, it makes more sense that the Order of Percent would target these individuals specifically for that reason. So Jin Furue might have been targeted because he uploaded Bats 490 personally, and might have been able to figure out the clues to Chikara, who I think we got to earlier than the Order of Percent probably ideally would have wanted us to.
As if the same thing from the Philadelphia experiment had happened.
After all, we are living in nothing but a simulation, a false world created
See, in
by
order
a
for her to
program.
really believe that, she can't be setting up her own
Could she have done
false
all
world.
this to give her claim credibility?
I don't think so.
I don't know, but it's possible.
I doubt it. She's too zealous about it, at least on the surface. I still think it's the Order of Percent at this
In any
point.
case, let's go see Tokiko. I have to talk to her.
Understood. We've come this far. I'll back you up until you're satisfied.
That is a weird way... What? That's a weird sentence to state here. We're trying to solve a case. This isn't something you get satisfied about. You find the truth. You get the answers. What?
I've been expecting you. I thought you would be arriving soon.
What do you mean?
I knew you would come see me.
Don't give me that.
I've solved the mystery, Miss Shigure.
Let's handle this first.
Jin's right half didn't teleport. It was just made to seem that way. It should have been obvious when you think about it. Teleportation? It's impossible. We live in a simulation? This is a fake world created by a
Wait a
program?
minute. Something just occurs to me. The only other person who I heard in-game put forth the idea that that was teleportation was Iris. Is she a member of Nai's Laws now? Could she be a new recruit to Nai's Laws?
Impossible. Simulation theory is nothing but occult nonsense. Just a ludicrous myth like UFOs, ghosts, and Kappa. I'm sure there are people who'd like to believe in these things, and there are groups who profit by making people believe.
Mr. Ryuki, it appears as though there's been some misunderstanding.
Has there?
We of Nai's have nothing to
I
do
do
with
believe this. I do not believe Nai's is behind these murders. Like I've been saying, it's Order of Percent trying to frame them, set them up.
Are you sure about that? All the pieces would fit together if Nyes is the one that made the QR video. The falsified paranormal phenomenon. What was written on the signboard. It all advances your agenda. Could it be that you wanted to spread the QR video by showing that sign along with the corpse on stream?
As I've told you, we are not the ones who made the QR video.
But her problem right now is that we've only got her word on this, so I can understand why Ryuki is suspicious. There is a lot of evidence pointing towards Nyes using this as basically shock propaganda.
What is the purpose of the QR video in the first place? Are you saying there is some message urging people to join Nyes in it?
No, they were all directed towards Chikara. Do you know Chinpei?
No, I don't.
Then do you know about Terror?
I've heard that name on the news, yes. This is about the culprit, is it not?
Yes, but...
I have absolutely no idea who it could be. I'm sorry I can't help you, but... I know of the incident, of course. However...
Yes, I know you have an alibi. We were here, having a conversation during the time of Chikara Horadori's death. But that doesn't necessarily mean you're completely innocent. You are the president of Nyes. Surely you have plenty of subordinates who can do your bidding.
He's really putting the thumbscrews on.
Are you implying I ordered someone to kill him?
It's a possibility.
And what
It is a
would be my
possibility. He
motive?
is right, and it is right for him to investigate that possibility, that angle. I personally believe it's Order of Percent, but I could be wrong.
Well...
Propaganda.
Remember what Tokiko said.
Concealing the truth.
Chikara Horadori is an avid believer in the Order of Percent.
Oh, is he? I must have missed that.
Their order and Nyes are heading in completely different directions.
Perhaps Nyes and the Order of Percent are
Does that mean Jin Furue might have converted as well to the Order of Percent?
I see. You're suggesting there was a conflict between organizations. It is true that Nyes and the Order of Percent have differing beliefs. However, we are not at odds with one another. Both organizations believe in the simulation theory. In that respect, we are comrades.
What's the difference?
We are living in a simulation.
Why did they
A
splinter?
false world. And from this false world, we seek emancipation. That is what Nyes believes. On the other hand, the Order of Percent, we are living in a simulation. A false world. But they wish to remain imprisoned within it.
You
forever.
are at odds with each other. You lying skunk ape. Look. I don't know why I call her a lying skunk ape. Look. Let me put it... To say that you're comrades because you both believe in simulation theory does not necessarily mean that you aren't at odds with each other. Consider the various religious conflicts in Europe during the medieval ages, specifically against the Lutherans and the Catholics. They both believed in God, but they had differing ideas of the process of worship, basically. Or I suppose it would be better phrased as sort of the parameters of worship. That's what they differed on, and they kill each other over it. The same thing could be happening here. Replace the word God with simulation, and you're now going down into ideologically what should be done. Nyes wants to liberate everyone from the simulation. The Order of Percent wishes to keep everyone here.
Forever.
Mr. Ryuki, have you ever played an open-world game where you play as a criminal?
Yes.
A game that lets you rob, murder, blow things up, leave a trail of debris wherever you go. An absurd, heinous game where you can freely commit all sorts of horrible crimes.
I've never played anything like that.
Why does she sound
but I
excited
know what
about
you
that?
mean.
Then you can understand. If this is a false world created by someone, then the Order of Percent believe they can do whatever they wish.
Now, this is straw manning here, alright? I'm sure there are people who believe in the simulation theory who then consequently believe that you can do whatever you want, but no matter how you look at it, even if simulation theory is true, which I don't personally believe in real life, even if it's true, there are still laws, rules, and parameters within the simulation that discourage those acts for very specific punishment reasons. It still doesn't change the fact, whether or not we're in a simulation, that at the end of the day, eventually, we all die. Alright? We all have a certain amount of time in the world, whether it's simulation or real. It doesn't matter, we all still have the same amount of time in this world, regardless of its source. Just because the world could be a simulation does not change anything about the rules, the laws, and the parameters. Whether it's simulation or not, crimes are still crimes, and there's still repercussions and consequences for these.
To them, this place is a true utopia. A dream world where they're allowed to do anything they want.
So
with
she
no real
can't really stand
consequences.
there and necessarily vouch for the fact that this is the viewpoint of the whole, or even a majority of the Order of Percent.
That's why they want to live here forever?
Exactly.
She has a motive, an ideological motive, in demonizing the Order of Percent in this particular scenario. However, when you turn it around and look at her motivation, or Nyes, the organization's motivations, basically, the Order of Percent is trying to save the world, and Nyes is trying to end the world. Because they're trying to break open the simulation, which very could just kill, if they're right, that kills the simulation, that ends the world. Okay? I don't think necessarily that Nyes is responsible for these murders, although I will give you that they could be. Chikara was a member of the Order of Percent. Jin might have also been or become a member of the Order of Percent. I don't think it's an accident that he was chosen as the victim for the first murder. That does not change the fact that either one of these organizations could be behind this.
I get it. That's why Chikara was researching immortality.
In theory, using Purge, even immortality is achievable. The ultimate dream that humanity has been yearning for thousands of years. It will soon become a reality. What do you think? Isn't that wonderful?
Interesting idea. That does lend some credibility to Nye's being the culprit.
I am aware that Chikara was very particular about immortality. However, I will say one thing. One must not believe in eternal youth. Eternal youth is a lie.
Every time she opens her mouth in this conversation, I've gotten more and more suspicious of Nya's as an organization. Honestly.
By the way, Mr. Ryuki, do you remember what you said earlier? Simulation theory is nothing but occult nonsense. That is clearly false. The simulation theory is not a cult.
She is correct about this. It was kind of a misnomer to call it occult theory when magic is not involved.
In fact, many esteemed scientists have given serious
Also true.
thought to the matter. The theory was originally proposed by a Swedish philosopher. However, the concept has been around since long ago, even as far back as the days of Plato and Zhuangzi. This world may be an illusion. At least, there is no way to prove it isn't an illusion. There are great people throughout history who have held such ideas.
But there's no way to prove it is an illusion either, is there?
No, there is plenty of science.
I would have to disagree with that. That's...
The holographic principle.
No.
Theory of relativity.
Also no.
The measurement problem in quantum theory can also be considered.
I don't know enough about that one. Alright. Let's talk about the holographic principle
Even
first.
light cannot escape a black hole. I'm sure you've heard this before.
Mhm.
Information is the same. It cannot escape a black hole.
No, that's wrong.
It's known that the amount of information trapped in this way is not derived from the volume of the black hole, but the surface area. Considering this, you can conclude that information in a three-dimensional space is stored in the boundary of its two-dimensional surface.
Also not necessarily true.
In other words, all information stored in this universe
Oh,
is
well, I
encoded
suppose
in
from a certain
single flat
perspective...
plane.
No. I'm thinking about it, yes. That, from a specific perspective, as in... information all has to be encoded somewhere, and that encoding process, in theory, takes place on a flat 2D surface. Like a information storage on a computer, as an example.
Just like a hologram.
I wouldn't necessarily say just like a hologram,
Regarding
but okay.
gravity and other physical processes, they can be completely accounted for through the laws of physics defined by the boundary surface. Let's take a character from an action game, for example. When that character falls, you may think he was pulled to the ground by gravity. However, gravity does not actually exist in the game world, only code that was written in the program. The character's body is merely made to show as if it fell based on its code.
You think this world is the same?
The holographic principle is not a theory. It is a principle. It has already been mathematically proven.
That's a bit of a stretch. You can mathematically theorize this, but I'll challenge anyone who mathematically proves it, because taking the gravity example, sure, possibly, it is in theory possible that gravity is, as we know it today, is simply programmed into the world. Sure. But it's also equally possible that our current understanding of, our widespread understanding of gravity is completely accurate, and gravity is gravity, and we're not in a simulation. To say it's been proven is very much a stretch, even if you're a mathematician. Because you are only proving that it's mathematically possible, not necessarily that it mathematically is. And there's a difference there. All you can prove is the possibility of it, mathematically.
I'd like to ask you one thing. Beings that are
So
far
she's kind
more
of
intelligent and
dancing
advanced
around the
than
words
we
there.
humans. Do you believe a civilization of such beings exists anywhere in this world?
It depends on what you're defining as world. If you're talking Earth, no. If you're using the term world to apply to the universe as a whole, possibly.
And by this world,
Yeah.
I mean all possible worlds in the entire universe, including those outside of our own.
Well, somewhere out there, probably.
I agree. Taking that into consideration, we're left with 3 possibilities. 1. Civilization hasn't reached a level of technology advanced enough to create a simulation that can't be distinguished from reality. 2. Civilization has reached a level of technology advanced enough to accomplish this, but it hasn't for some reason.
Probably out of the 3 that she's about to bust out, that's the least believable.
3. Civilization has reached that level of technology and has no strong reason not to
I think it's
use
the
it.
first, based on VR that we have today.
Therefore, they've proceeded with creating an intricate simulation. Which of these do you think is most likely?
Are you saying it's 3?
That is what a famous Swedish philosopher
I
believed,
disagree.
at least. He further explains that civilization must have run simulations millions or even trillions of times, in which case, it would make sense to believe our world would be included in one of those simulations.
You're saying it's far more likely that we're one of the countless simulated worlds, rather than a world that exists in the one and only reality. Do I have that right?
Yes.
Additionally, the simulation in the real world may be a simulation itself, kind of like a Matryoshka doll. Just so you know, I'm not saying I believe the simulation theory. The simulation theory isn't too credible because of this Matryoshka aspect. Yeah, see, the problem here is the assumption that you would create... The main problem I have is motivation for creating a simulation in the first place, is one of my big criticisms of the theory. What would be the point? Now, the only real honest answer I can come up with is that the point is for science. But then the only way that would be particularly helpful to any species is if it's a species not too different from our own. You might say, well, we play video games. For example, this you could consider a simulation, and we're playing this for entertainment. However, we directly affect the simulation, and as far as we're seeing in real life, there is nothing affecting reality. At least not in the way that a video game would typically be used for.
Say this world really is a simulation. Then that would mean a computer or something that's running the simulation exists somewhere, right? But it doesn't seem realistic that everything that happens in the universe could be derived by calculation.
Yes, you are right. However, there is no need to calculate every phenomenon, only what observers see and experience.
Technically true, but then you have to reconsider the fact that there are billions of people on the planet, and you would have to render, program, code, etc. everything everyone was seeing, not only individually, but multiple people seeing the same thing at different angles at different times, possibly additionally with recorded video, which of course would add processing power, would require more memory, multiplicative, which I'm sure I mispronounced, mispronounced it, according to how many people were recording. It doesn't make sense.
Take the measurement problem in quantum theory. It explains the inexplicable phenomenon observed in the double-slit experiment. Quantum matter appears as particles when observed, and as waves when not observed. For the latter, its position cannot be specified because it exists as a stochastic wave. Therefore, it must be calculated and processed as the entire wave, and is impossible to reduce. The faster an object moves, or as the effects of gravity increase along with the increase in mass, time progresses slower, as I'm sure you know.
And that's related to processing speed?
Yes. When the load during calculation is increased, a phenomenon akin to a processing failure occurs. That is why nothing can exceed the speed of light. The calculation wouldn't be able to catch up if acceleration is infinite.
Let me explain the double-slit experiment. We shoot a ray of light toward a board with 2 slits with a screen behind it. This causes the rays to be distorted to look like stripes. This is because the light has the property of a wave. Then what would happen if we shot light molecules one at a time? The light molecules will show up as a dot on the screen. By continuously doing this, the stripes reappear. Why is this? The light molecules are only being shot one by one, so the board shouldn't have an effect. The next part of this experiment was done using a detection device to see which slit the module went through. This caused the stripes to disappear and only 2 lines appeared on the screen. Isn't that interesting? When it's not being observed, they appear as waves, but as soon as you try to observe it, they appear as lines. This is the gist of the detection problem in molecular theory. Now, another thing that no one has actually addressed here is the entire possibility that we simply cannot perceive light in wave form. We might only be able to perceive it in molecular form. I'm not going to get too into that because I don't know enough about that to really speak as an authority, but it is a question that I honestly haven't done too much research on, to be completely honest, but I also haven't heard any particular answer towards that either. That's a nice watch.
I see. Then let us leave it at that. In any case, there is no denying that the simulation theory is true.
Mathematically, it's possible, but from a practical standpoint, based on all other things, it's extremely unlikely.
But unlike Chikara, I have no interest in the concept of immortality, because my objective is to tear at the seams of this world and emancipate us all.
Which assumes that would be emancipation and not total destruction.
So you mean dying?
No. Death and emancipation are completely different. I have no desire to commit suicide.
You have a 50% chance of just wiping out the entire world.
Though I would be fine with dying at any time.
Because this world isn't real.
There is that, yes. However, there is another reason. If I wish to do so, I can resurrect myself. We are living in a false world created by a program. Therefore, if we can rewrite its code, we can create miracles.
This is still you're assuming it's a program.
Like reincarnation.
Alrighty.
Bringing someone who has already passed back to life.
Has this woman lost it?
Yeah. You don't get that look in your eyes and remain sane.
Ryuki, you were right. There's clearly a lot of reasons to be suspicious of Tokiko.
Yeah. Let's check with Wingsync.
Yeah, let's check with that. Why are we looking at you? I want to wink sync you. What are you thinking? In light of our most recent conversation.
I saw everything. If you don't do as I say, I'm sure you know where this is going.
What is this?
Looks like Tokiko is blackmailing someone.
What is it she saw?
I don't know. This is as far as we can get through Wingsync.
Then...
Yes, let's get a deeper look into her mind, using a regular sync.
Ryuki, just to confirm, you did get permission, right?
Yes, she accompanied me voluntarily and...
No, I meant from Boss.
I haven't seen Boss.
Interesting. Where is Boss?
Room.
Whenever she disappears, it's
I'll be
usually
sure
a
to
bad
talk to
thing.
her later.
I don't think this is a good idea. Besides, you don't look so good, Ryuki.
I'm fine. So please, I need more leads to solve this case.
But you... Oh, fine. I'll help you for now, but I won't be held responsible.
Pewter, what do you know that you're not telling me? Oh, he's referencing doing this without Boss's permission. Never mind. Sorry, I misunderstood.
Look, Ryuki, please just don't cause any problems. You can only stay in Somnium for 6 minutes. I absolutely need you to follow this rule.
Yes, understood.
Okay then, let's begin.
I like how Pewter reminds us of the 6-minute rule literally every time. Did something happen previously? Yes, actually it did, didn't it? Never mind. Duh. But did anything happen with Pewter? We don't know that. It's her office. Without the water.
I wonder if this is the nice president's room. It's really white, though.
Let's make an acronym poem with the letters for nice.
Where the hell is this coming from?
N.
Okay. N. Not that I know why.
A.
Angry.
I.
Incoming?
X.
Shingu River Ray.
Not that I know why. Angry incoming Shingu River Ray. The Shingu River Ray. Such a kind animal.
Angered by humans polluting waterways, I guess.
That's really random.
Somnium scan, activate!
What are our clues? Oh, that's not what I was expecting, but okay. The window. Not too surprised there. Not remotely surprised at all there. Oh, she's now sitting there. Okay. It seems like Tokiko was threatening someone. By peeking into her mind's abyss, you might discover something. Yeah.
This is such a quiet place. So empty and blank.
Maybe that's Tokiko's mental state. Pretty eccentric.
You have no room to talk, Ryuki.
Hopefully we can find something here.
Looks like we can only interact with that ripped up book.
Right. Let's investigate.
Let's not. I'm going to actually end the episode here. But, thank you all very much for joining me. And if you liked this, please like and subscribe. If you didn't, please ignore me. And if you have any comments, questions, concerns, ideas, suggestions, or requests, please leave them down in the comment section below. And thank you all very much for joining me, and have a great 24 hours.